The following story is based on true events and public submissions about addiction and trauma. Names and identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. Claire Mathis was 27 years old and working as a dental hygienist in Dayton, Ohio. She had spent 2 years carefully budgeting for her wedding, which was exactly 6 weeks away. It was a modest plan, 64 guests and a rented hall just outside the city limits. The dress Claire chose was an ivory cap-sleeve silhouette from a local consignment shop. This timeline shows the arithmetic of the purchase. She paid $40 a month every single month for 9 months to reach the $360 total. Claire had been monitoring the household stability since she was a teenager. Her mother, Linda, had struggled with a prescription opioid dependency for 11 years, teaching Claire to count pills in the bathroom cabinet and manage the house on the nights Linda was unable to get off the couch. But for 2 years, the environment had been stable. Linda had a sponsor, attended meetings in a church basement every Tuesday, and was calling Claire to have grounded, real conversations. Claire chose to store the dress at her mother's house to acknowledge this progress. It was a way to validate Linda's 2 years of sobriety by inviting her back into a position of trust. When Claire arrived for her final fitting, Linda took 4 minutes to answer the door. She was disheveled, her eyes were unfocused, and the air smelled sweet and chemical. Claire walked past her straight to the back bedroom. She checked the closet, the hallway, and under the bed, but the dress was gone. Linda was sitting on the living room couch when Claire walked back in. She confessed that 3 days earlier she had sold the dress to a neighbor for cash. She needed the money, and the transaction was already finished. The value of 9 months of savings had been liquidated in minutes. Linda had sold the $360 dress for $80. This is the transactional nature of addiction. It trades long-term stability and family trust for immediate relief, forcing the family back into the cycle of crisis they spent years trying to escape. Claire sat on the front porch for 17 minutes before making a move. Instead of engaging in an argument she knew her mother couldn't process, she called her Aunt Renee and began outlining a plan. Renee had spent 2 decades watching her sister struggle. She listened to Claire's account of the theft and agreed to step in immediately, telling her niece, "We do this together." Claire began by posting in local Dayton bridal groups on Facebook. She kept the post objective and free of drama, simply stating she needed an ivory, size 8 dress for a wedding in 6 weeks. A stranger from Kettering named Patricia responded within a day. Her own daughter had chosen a different dress at the last minute, and Patricia insisted that Claire take the original one for free so she could have a good wedding day. Patricia's generosity removed the immediate crisis from the center of the wedding. With a replacement dress secured, Claire was able to shift her attention to her mother's recovery without the pressure of the missing garment. While Claire handled the wedding logistics, Renee contacted Linda's sponsor. Together, they arranged a formal intervention with a professional counselor to address the relapse. They presented Linda with a set of documented terms. The conversation was focused entirely on clinical outcomes rather than emotional grievances. The choice was binary. Linda could enter a 60-day residential treatment facility in Columbus, or she would be barred from the wedding and all future contact with Claire. 9 days later, Linda accepted the terms. She signed the intake paperwork and entered the facility in Columbus to begin the program. By setting a boundary that prioritized treatment over presence, Claire and Renee shifted the dynamic. The ultimatum forced the focus away from the betrayal and back onto the necessity of Linda's survival. The wedding day was the most difficult moment of the year for Claire. She has been open about the fact that her mother's empty chair was a constant, painful reminder of the price of the intervention. But she put on the dress Patricia had given her and completed the ceremony, accepting the pain of her mother's absence. She ensured that the addiction did not have a place at the altar. It was the only way to truly protect her wedding day from the cycle of her mother's disease. 14 months have passed since Linda entered that facility. She completed the full residential stay and followed it with consistent outpatient counseling. She has remained sober since the day the intervention took place. Her relationship with Claire is now defined by a new set of rules. They speak every Sunday afternoon, having the same type of clear, honest conversations Claire had hoped for years ago. The original dress was never recovered. The neighbor sold it at a flea market for $110, and the trail ended there. The relationship hasn't reverted to what it was before the theft. It is a different connection now, one maintained through the Sunday phone line and the quiet, ongoing effort of individual recovery. Claire lost the dress, but she held the boundary, and she walked down that aisle anyway.